Welcome to Optimal Game State. So today we are going to be looking at Battle Traits. So Battle Trait came out in the recent Briar and Bone box. It was in the campaign book. It was totally unexpected, and basically it is a new optional rule. I'm going to explain what that optional rule is. I'm going to give some context to it, and then we're going to go through all of them. This is going to be unscripted, so I am going to make mistakes, and we're going to try get through all of them all at once, which is insane idea. Some of the other channels have already started working on things. So Cinderfall Gaming has a review of the Order battle traits, and Goonhammer has started. So Salty Sea has been starting the article series there. They are more measured. They will have more correct information because they're taking it one step at a time when multiple people looking at it. But I figured it'd be nice just to get through this all at once. So if you are interested in a particular one, then I should have timestamps. You should be able to jump straight to it. But we are going to try to get through everything tonight, even though that is insane. Okay, so it's an optional rule. The other optional rule we've had of note has been the one for the Divine Blessings, which has been a big success and is regularly used in tournaments these days. This is kind of like that, but this isn't the only one we've had. There have been lots of optional rules kind of scattered throughout the game that just never picked up traction. This one of Battle Traits, I think, will, because it's a pretty broad one. So there have been cases where they introduced like special rules for like the Gloomspite Gitz, and that never took off because it's only for one faction, so people tend not to play those optional rules. But the Battle Traits, everyone has an option for it. It also has it feels like it was designed to fix a problem. So yeah, let's first explain what they are. So if we are playing by the optional Battle Trait rules, then you will have the option to pick either a Grand Alliance battle trait or a Warband battle trait. The Grand Alliance ones are going to be minor options, so we'll see those in a second. If you want to pick the Warband one, then every fighter in your Warband must be from the same list. So, for example, if you're picking an Iron Golems list, you can't ally in any Thralls, you can't ally in any allies, you can't ally in any heroes from any other Chaos Warbands. If you did that, they'd all be Grand Alliance Chaos, and you would have to use the battle trait for the Grand Alliance Chaos. So, the best kind of lists in the game currently are ones where you are allying in options from other warbands, other lists to kind of get your kind of best soup option. This is giving a benefit to those who do not do that. So if you're playing again, Iron Golems out of the box with just Iron Golems, you're going to get a little bit of a buff. I think that's great. Basically, it's lifting the people who are on the bottom, essentially. There is, in theory, a minor benefit to everyone because the Grand Alliance ones are there, but we'll see those in a second. So, yeah, I think this is good. In addition to that, it also adds a little bit of flavor to each of the warbands. So, the big distinctive element between warbands tends to be their abilities, but the abilities only fire so often. You have to power them; they don't almost turn up. Whereas a lot of these traits are always active. There'll be things that you can do maybe once a battle or once a round or something like that, and they add a little bit more flavor to these warbands. So they are quite cool. I personally like them. I will be playing with them going forward as long as my opponents are happy with that. And yeah, so we're going to try get through these. There's about 60 plus to get through, so we'll try put some haste onto it. All right. First, we've got Grand Alliance Order. I think this kind of sets the pace for the things they are. So when you take the universal reaction, take cover. So that's a little bit of a benefit as a reaction against range attacks. Critical hits become hits on a 3+ rather than 4+. Super minor. I don't think I've ever taken that reaction in my life. I probably never will. Grand Alliance Chaos, quite similar here. So once per battle round, so only once, add 1 to the damage points allocated by the first critical hit from a melee action. And it'll only work if the fighter has points of 125 or less. First round, you're probably not doing anything. Second round, your first crit is going to have +1 damage. Maybe that'll make a difference. Maybe it'll take someone down when it wouldn't otherwise, but it is quite minor. And And, there's no guarantee that your 125 pointer or less is actually going to crit, so it might not trigger. And it's only once per round. So it's at most 4. It's probably more likely to be 2 or 3. Yeah, it's something. Grand Line's Death. So, deathless minions. Once per battle round, so limited, count the first critical hit from a ranged attack action that targets a friendly fighter that has a minion. So your minions tend to be your low-level grunt skeletons or zombies. This is once per battle. It only changes a crit to hit. It might keep someone alive a little bit longer, but it's only against ranged attacks. So it's going to be very, very niche, which is kind of what we're looking at with these Grand Alliances. And last, we've got Destruction. When a friendly fighter with this battle trait makes a melee attack action, the target cannot add +1 toughness for being in cover. If this is your first time realizing it, it is possible to be behind a little bit of cover in a melee fight, and all it does is give you +1 toughness. So it comes up so rarely. The fact that Destruction now have an opt-out of that is kind of funny. Personally, I don't think they should have brought in any of these 4 Grand Alliance ones. It's probably the ability to kind of print out on a card and have it in your back pocket if you're actually going for a mixed one. But these are so niche that they may as well not exist as far as I'm concerned. All right, now let's get into the actual warbands proper. So each of these is going to differ. Each of these is going to have different power levels. In theory, hopefully, the weaker warbands will have more powerful ones. There's a bit of a balancing factor. And then there are some, like I believe the Soulblight Gravelords, are competitive enough just within their faction that maybe you don't want to give them much, or as we'll see once we get to them, you want to push them in a certain direction. All right, starting with the Cities of Sigmar. And unfortunately, we've got a little bit of a problem here. Technically, there is no Cities of Sigmar warband list anymore. So what was the Cities of Sigmar and did use this icon has split up into 3. So there's the Cities of Sigmar Darkling Covens, Cities of Sigmar Dispossessed for the dwarfs, so it's Dark Elves and dwarfs, and then the proper one, which I can't remember the name of straight away, but is probably what this is intended for, is the Dawnbringer stats. Right now, based on what we've seen, I would recommend using this for all 3 of those. It's a good benefit for any of them. So at the end of the battle round, pick a friendly fighter and remove D3 damage allocated to them. And then if they're within 3 inches of an objective, carrying a treasure, or within 1 inch of an obstacle, which all of that sounds quite reasonable, then you're going to add +1 to it. So it's 2 to 4 healing at the end of each battle round. That's pretty cool. So round 4 probably won't make a difference. If they're dead, they're dead. If they're not dead, then you don't really care about the extra healing. But turn 1, probably not going to make a difference because you're probably not going to get hit. So 2 or 3 is probably going to be a big benefit. Next up, Daughters of Khaine, Jubilant Bloodletting. So this, if they get a crit on one of their melee actions, then you can pick a double, triple, or quad and then add 2 to the value of that. This can happen multiple times. So you can boost up a set ability dice up to something high, or you can do it across multiple ones. I love it. The fact that it's called Jubilant Bloodletting as well is great. You're rolling your dice. Once you have crits, you're like, yes, I've got a crit, and I'm also going to flip these dice up to add 2 more. There are a couple of abilities that they have that trigger off of the attack values. So it's probably worth looking at those. So they do have a couple of different options. They have a couple of doubles. Notably, they've got a couple of triples that actually do look at the value. So there's Heartseekers that allocate damage points to the target of the attack action equal to the value of this ability. They've got one that boosts their strength. Again, those are 2 triples. We are going to see stuff like this occurring again and again and again, and I do think this is a clever design tweak. If you've listened to my reviews, you'll often get to me looking at a triple or quad and going, well, this uses a value, so you're probably not going to use this because you can't really rely on high value dice, and you kind of need this to be like a quad 6 before this particular ability is useful. Now, with Daughters of Khaine, we've got a way to manipulate the values of these. So this is going to massively increase the value of their triples that rely on values, and also their quads. So even just a normal Rampage quad, because it now is limited by the movement is equal to the value dice, being able to boost that up can be quite good. Don't forget also that the Shadeborn and Mogwit's Blade Coven and which is the other, Grisel's Arena. So we also have a couple of abilities to look up in there if you're going through these. Anyway, it's a very, very cool ability. I like it. We will see this theme of manipulating the values again and again. It does look like it's clever design because there are a lot of abilities that are dependent on those values, and now we can manipulate them and make them a lot more useful. Okay, Fire Slayers. Runic Momentum. After a friendly fighter with this battle trait using ability, add +1 to their move. Notably, they have a burst double, which is gives them a move 3. So yeah, this hopefully will combo with that, and then anything that will kind of give them a bit of a boost in speed is good too. Because it's based around abilities, you're probably going to look at 2 or 3, getting that extra +1 per turn. But hey, it's all good, and it's only for the next move action, so it's not going to be for doubles. So if you're doing a move, you only get 1 out of that. So a move with Rush is going to be +3 essentially over 2 entirely. Hunters of Huanchi have a very, very cool ability. Basically, after you put them on the battle table, you then pick out 3 and essentially switch them across battle groups. And then they're considered if they were part of that battle group. You are stuck to just Hunters of Huanchi, so you are quite limited. And Hunters of Huanchi the competitive list tended to get outside help in. This does mean if you've got your flyers or your a particular melee or ranged, you can make sure they're on the right spot regardless of how you have deployed. So I think that's quite clever. Really, really like this. Hunters of Huanchi do very, very little damage. They're all about placement. So yeah, I'm not sure how good they're going to be out of just the box by themselves, but the ability is fantastic. That extra little bit of maneuverability and positioning, which is to say, to have the right people in the right battle groups on the right spot. Yeah. Now, does this say anything about ones who have not been deployed? After deployment. So it's only the ones on the battlefield. Okay, good to know. Idoneth Deepkin, Power of the Tides. So these are one of the ones that I was talking about. They already have a bunch of special rules that no one uses that are very thematic and do a lot of things like this. They are all quite fast already. They're move 5, so this brings them in turn 1 and turn 2 to move 6 a lot of the time. And they do have a lot of 3s and 4s. So adding 3s and 4 strength. So adding that +1 strength to their melee attacks is going to be really, really good for them. Khainite Shadowstalkers, unfortunately quite poor. The ability is pretty fun. So basically they get to switch to characters within 9 inches at the end of each battle round. That's probably going to help you get your Shroud Queen where you need her to get. This particular warband's combination of, I guess, spears, daggers, ranged, and then the biggest and scariest of them is the Shroud Queen to do a chunk of damage. So you can, get people into position and kind of switch things around. So if you need your melee fighter closer to them and then your range fighter further away, this is a way to kind of help get those positioning going. And yeah, you're kind of jumping them around. Looks like a lot of fun. It's not super powerful because it does have that melee limitation, so you have to be outside of melee and outside of 3 inches indeed, and then not carrying treasure. So there are a lot of limitations on it, but I do like the maneuverability. Kharadron Overlords, a good deal. This one's funny. So yeah, after you've been targeted, but before rolls are made, you give them 1 wild dice and subtract 2 from the damage points from each hit and crit, which is massive. And that is a really big difference to a minimum of 1. So it's a great way to keep it safe on the last turn. It's almost no downside giving them wild dice. Turn 2 or 3, it's going to have some effect, but if it's going to keep the important character alive at a key moment, I think it's wonderful. And it kind of reflects their armor, I guess. Lumineth Realm-lords, 1 person gets to use this 1 ability. So you pick them ahead of time, and then you know who it is, but then they can use a double as a triple or a triple as a quad. There are a bunch of abilities that they have, obviously, that are, again, so this does help you use the abilities, the ability values. Now, the Lumineth Quad, which is Perfect Strike, is based off the value of the ability. So you do a bonus attack, and then in addition, you do the ability's value and damage points. Allocate 10 points for each critical hit of that attack action. Oh, okay. So you're going to multiply it a little bit. This means if you got a high triple, you could then turn it into a quad. But it also means you get to power up more one extra triple than you maybe necessarily could. It is only going to be one, so it is a once per battle. But yeah, it's a nice little add-on. Seraphon get two options. So it's the Coalesced. They are able to add one to the value of a triple spell with Tearing Bite ability. Tearing Bite ability is a way to increase your damage. It's on their warriors. So if you're using one of the warriors, then that's great for doing that. And then the other option, so if you're not going to be using the Tearing Bite ability, you have the Starborn Reaction, which is a way to reduce damage, I believe. Yeah. So it reduces. Yeah, it's a reaction that you take before hit rolls are made, and it turns 2 crits into normal hits. So you are able to take it by not already when it's a melee attack, but this gives you the option for a ranged attack as well. It's very, very minor, but if you're not going to be using the coalesced one, you may as well go with it. Questor Soulsworn. Oh, I've spelled Questor wrong there. Oh, that's unfortunate. This one is super fun. It is a small warband. It's only like the 6 guys, and this gives them the option to stack multiple abilities on top of each other. These can be multiplicative, so doing 2 abilities on the same fighter is better than doing 2 separate abilities. It also means you get to stack them. So the stacking is obviously good for increasing the damage or the effectiveness, but you also get to do them all at once. So if you're acting first, you could drop all of your wild dice, like a triple and 2 doubles, into one single fighter who's making a bunch of attacks, and then just go crazy. This warband isn't super great, isn't super powerful. They have a tendency to be used in other warbands as an ally. I think this is going to be a lot of fun. Seeing this ability actually sounds cool. So I'm actually quite tempted to pick up this warband just because of this new change, and it really makes them feel like heroes, and I think that's cool. So we have next Stormcast Eternals. So this is generally for all the Stormcast Eternals. At the start of deployment, you pick up whichever fighter you want. They're gone for the first round, but then at the start of the second round, you can place them anywhere you want on a table. So if standard limitations, more than 5 inches from any fighter, more than 3 inches from an objective and treasure token, but it gives you a lot of maneuverability. And the first turn really is just moving the position. And instead, if you know exactly where you want them to have, you're not going to be telegraphed by your moves, so you'll be able to play around what your opponent's done, and then you just teleport them down with lightning at the start of turn 2. Awesome, love it, very, very flavorful. And actually, we're going to be seeing that a lot. Flavorful. Spirit Pathways. Once per battle, use the Walk with the Spirits ability without needing spend ability dice, and that is a triple, or without having the Warrior rune mark. This one's very, very cool. It is a teleport. Again, it's a lot of limitations. You're only able to do it once per battle, but that's fine. You are now able to do it on one of your big guys, which can be incredibly scary. And you can do it with fighters who have ranged attacks. It's the fighter that you could take for this. Which was it? It was the Tree Revenant. Was worth taking just for this. But now you're able to, teleport one of your Kurnoth Great Hunters or something big and scary around. Get a lot more impact. It also means you're able to teleport around flying units. Sorry, not flying units, ranged units, to put them into position exactly where they need to be able to get that shot off straight away. There's a lot of cool things you can do. Teleporting is fun. And it's not super powerful. Like, it is just once per battle. Obviously, your Tree Revenant. Yeah, it was Tree Revenant. Your Tree Revenant is going to be able to do it anyway as a triple. But yeah, being able to do it with anyone at all once per battle is just great. Order of Vizier gets nothing. Nada. Zip zilch. It does kind of feel like that these battle traits may have been done at a point earlier in design. because Order of Zero has only been recently added, and they did miss out on that change to the Sigmar, and they also didn't include the Black Talons. Now, maybe the Order of Zero is supposed to be part of City of Sigmar, maybe the Black Talons are supposed to be part of the Stormcast Eternals, but either way, they don't have them. I'm not particularly upset that they're not there. They're fine. I have both these warbands. I like them. I enjoy them. They're very, very flavorable. They're all individual units, which I think is kind of neat. So, yeah, maybe there are some reasons, and it isn't a miss. It is just an intention. Twist Wheels. I recently did a video on this. This is just out of the box. Basically, they do a little bit more damage. So at the end of each battle round, if they're next to someone in melee, they on 2+ will take some damage themselves. And then if that doesn't kill them, it'll do D3 damage to one of the enemy fighters. So, yeah, I guess they're spiky. They've got thorns or something like that. Wildercorp Hunters, point blank volley. This only really affects the Arbalist. Most of the other fighters have melee weapons that are a little bit better, but the Arbalist has a blank spot, and you really would like to be able to fire close up. So, once per battle round, and it's basically just going to be that one fighter. Although, I mean, you can't take that fighter multiple times if you wanted to. You're probably just going to take the one because in the box. You can fire the point blank range. Cool. Fine. Cool. It does improve that one fighter slightly. Fun. Vulkyn Flameseekers. So this one is actually specific. So it is just ones with Berserker rune mark. I think that's probably the one to differentiate it from the Magma Kindle, the Kindle Droth. Is that what it was? The creature. But the beast, if it goes down as a triple, they can resurrect it again. Nice. Cool. I think that was probably the missing, or probably one of the weaker pieces in this particular warband, I believe. I gathered the dwarfs are actually kicking some ass. So, being able to give it a bit of a boost where it could be resurrected from dead, that's fun. Ydrilan Riverblades. So, yeah, this is parkour in action. So you add one to the move characteristic if they're within 1 inch of a terrain feature at the start, and that continues for the end of the activation. Cool. So yeah, some of these will depend on how the battlefield is set up, what the terrain looks like, but yeah, based on the pictures of this particular warband, it does kind of make sense that it'd be bouncing around and doing fancy things. Beast of Chaos. This one's a bit of a weird one. Okay, so we pick a friendly fighter from each battle group, and it's a you can. So you don't necessarily have to do this, but let's assume we do. So we'll take a gore from each. We remove those from a battlefield. At the start of rounds 2, 3, and 4, you can place one of those fighters on a battlefield. Again, all these sim limitations, more than 6 inches from the enemy fighter and wholly within 3 inches when the battlefield ends. So it's a little bit more maneuverability. It's a little bit more of the positioning. There might be some kind of weird cases here where it would let you, for example, keep your leader off the board if it's an assassination mission, and then just have them turn up on turn 4. Things like that might cause problems, but I mean, we just avoid those. We don't play those games if that's what it comes down to. Blades of Khorne, demons. Blood calls blood. So if you have done damage to something, pick them at the end of the round, roll 2d6 on an 8+, which I believe is 40%, roughly 40%, do 3 damage points to them. Yeah. So it's not going to work turn 1 because you haven't done damage yet. Turn 2 and 3, it's probably going to help. Turn 4, less useful unless, there's a chance of actually killing someone at the end. But, more damage is good. It's hard to turn that down. No respite. Again, we're looking at Blades of Khorne, Bloodborne, Bloodbound. And with this case, when one of your fighters go down, rather than them just going out quietly, they have a chance to do some damage back to someone within 1 inch of them, who probably was the target, probably got the killing blow, and they have a 50% chance of doing D3 back to them. Chaos Legionnaires. If it's a tie for initiative, these guys get to pick. They're smart. They're working out they're master manipulators. Claws of Karnak. This one's a bit weird. Claws of Karnak do have a reaction already in relation to disengage actions. So they already disincentivize disengages. This one Obviously, they don't need to take a reaction to do it now, so it's kind of it's flat and static, it's always active, which may have been kind of what they were hoping for with this. And yeah, if they move away, if you've got 3 fighters on top of someone and they try to back away on a 2+, then they'll take 1 damage. And yeah, this is each time any fighter makes a disengage, roll an action for each. Sorry, it is for each. It does say for each 1 damage point for each friendly fighter. So if we had 3 on that 2+, it would do 3 damage. Nice. Yeah, I think the claws already had the incentive. It might have been because they weren't able to activate their reaction, that this is just kind of doubling up on that and trying to get that a little bit more active. And actually, yeah, they've got abilities that help move multiple people in there together. Corvus Cabal. This one I am a little upset by. I don't think this is great. Okay, so just add +2 strength to the characteristics of melee attack actions made by friendly fighters if they fail this activation. This came up with the Blades of Corn Underworld's Warband, where one of the fighters was doing a wrestling style from the top rope. When they fall, their opponent gets to decide where they go. Okay, so how do you manage to intentionally move and then fall and then get into combat? So you'll need to basically move and then fall in the middle of the movement and still have enough movement left over to adjust for your opponent putting out of position and then getting in. I'm not particularly a fan of this. I would have preferred if they had something about starting from 2 inches above the ground or something like that, which I think is a phrasing that they've moved over to recently, which again does lead me to believe that some of this was done quite a while ago. And because it would have all gone to print, because this is a print material, that does make sense. All right, Cypher Lords, Matchless Acrobats. Nice and simple here. Every time they use an ability on a 5+, they get a wild dice. Cool. Okay, so Cypher Lords use abilities, get more wild dice, use more abilities, get more wild dice. Fun. On Cypher Siege, Demons, Warp Destiny, after initiative phase, they can pick 2 double, triple, or quads they have, and then swap the values of that ability. So you're looking to make a double 6 and then give that to your quad. Again, I think this is fixing a problem they've identified with the game. Well, specifically with the high level, with the triples and quads that are dependent on dice values aren't always good. And this is a great way to switch that up, to mess that around. Again, we have a similar style here, but rather than intentionally switching between them, we just have a chance to upgrade them. And it does look like it's all of them, right? You can choose 1 roll for each. So 1 double, 1 triple, or quad. You can roll 1 dice for each double, triple, or quad. Yeah, so you'd roll 3 dice, essentially. And then on 4+, you got a chance to upgrade them all to 6s. Great. Darkoath Savagers. After an enemy leader's been taken down. So here you're looking to take the leader. So it's not going to happen that often. But it will add 2 wild dice to your save wild dice. So it gives you an incentive, gives you kind of a focus, and gives you a nice bonus. A lot of these don't have to be super impactful. Sometimes they're just a little bit of flavor. Sometimes they're just fun. Cause I don't think that I don't think most of these are really going to shake up the competitive meta, to be quite honest. And that's fine. That's fine. It's just going to mean that the more casual, the more fun warbands are going to be able to compete a lot better at the higher level, which is perfect. Exactly what we're looking for. Hedonites of Slaanesh, and this is the demons. And this is a lockdown. This is really nice, actually. After the initiative phase, you can pick an enemy fighter, so just one, within 1 inches of one or more friendly fighters, and it's a 3+. They cannot make disengaged actions. Now, obviously, they can still kill the target, and if they're no longer engaged, they can just walk away. But, it is a semi-net style effect, which is quite cool. Hedonite Slaanesh Cyberites. This one is awesome. After friendly fighter with this battle trait allocate 1 more damage, blah, blah, blah. They can choose to take 3 damage and then add 2 to the attack's characteristic of the next attack action made by this fighter in this battle round. So we did see that similar version in that unique fighter, that one hero that came out, who has been... It looks good. I haven't yet had a chance to play him, but I really, really liked what it looked like. Who was it? What was her name? Let me just find it. Yes, the Lord of Hubris. Yeah, so this is a very, very similar ability to that. And being able to have it on multiple characters is great. So we're going to be actively taking more damage, so we can dish out more damage. Sounds like fun. Perfect Slanesh. Horns of Hashut. This one's a bit weird. So this relates to impact damage. So you get impact damage when you fall or you're pushed, and there's a couple of other scenarios where that'll happen. This subtracts 2 from the dice roll to a minimum of 1. So low dice or low numbers mean you're more likely to take damage when you're falling, and high dice mean you're more likely to get away with it. Yeah. Iron Golems, we make war. And I like that they've taken some of the old phrases, like from the original videos when these originally came out. And yeah, you pick one of them and then you just go straight to all 6s. So the quad Whirlwind of Death that the Iron Golems have allocates damage points equal to the value of the ability to all visible enemy fighters within 3 inches of this. Sometimes if you had a quad 6, it could be quite useful because obviously it can do a lot of damage, but it requires positioning, requires setup. And now you can, if you get a quad, you can guarantee that you're going to have a quad 6. There is also the Living Battering Ram, which is for the Ogre. And I mean, it's just a charge action. But again, if it's a 666, it's obviously going to be a lot more effective, a lot more useful. And they have their normal Trobolas, which is the double, where if they roll a 6 on the 2 dice, you get to do. Sorry, if a 4 to 5 does 1 damage on each of the 2 dice, and then if you got a 6, you got to do value ability. So even if you don't have a triple or a quad that you're looking to do that, then you can you can use the Trobolas, I guess. It's good. It's good. Being able to manipulate these values makes those abilities a lot better. Iron Golems aren't super great. Actually, they're quite good. They aren't necessarily, a only Iron Golems list is unlikely to be winning tournaments. It certainly could, actually. This helps that along, and that's exactly what we're looking for here, and that's exactly what these battle traits are succeeding at doing. Maggotkin of Nurgle. So if you're within 1 inch of the friendly fighter at the start of battle round on a 5+, do 1 damage to them. Great. And turn 3 and 4, you're probably going to have a lot of people there. It is only going to be 1 damage, but you're probably going to have multiple fighters, and it will add up. So, the infection vectors could certainly increase. Disease ridden is more disease stuff. It's notable that both of them can't infect each other, which is kind of cool. On a 5+, fighter cannot use abilities or reactions this battle round. Yeah, that's pretty good. I like that a lot. Obviously, it's a 5+, so it's not always going to work, but when it does, if you're able to completely shut down their key fighter that has a key ability that they're looking to use, then that's good. It's very good. But yeah, it's not super reliable. Rotmire Creed. Enemy fighters that are within 1 inch of 2 or more friendly fighters cannot make disengage actions. So as long as you manage to get 2 in, you've got someone locked down. Now, again, they can kill one of them, and then they can walk, or they can make a disengage, or they can kill both of them, and then they can just walk away. This is super good. I really liked it a lot. It does require getting to 1 inch of it, though, so I think they do have a couple of reach weapons, which they're not going to be able to use for that. Signs of Flame, really, really minor ability here. Each time 1 or more damage points allocated for an enemy would be removed, so that's some sort of healing. Subtract 1 from the total to be removed to a minimum of 0. It's not going to be much. The healing in this game, it doesn't regularly happen. Obviously, there is the Universal Reprieve, which is the triple. But yeah, it's not a regular thing. So the Signs of the Flame only get a minor benefit, but it is something. It's something cool. Skaven, I quite like this one. Ended battle rounds 2 and 3. You can pick a enemy friendly fighter and bring them back. So these are 70 points or less. These are just clan rats. So it's some of their cheapest fighters. You just get more of them. Very, very cool. Very, very flavorful. And yeah, Skaven Tide box is out. Vermintide box is out. It's called Skaven Tide. So yeah, it's a great time to be running Skaven. Slaves of Darkness. This one's good. I like this one. While more enemy fighters are taken down than friendly fighters, add 3 to the values of your ability dice to a maximum of 6. So the Slaves of Darkness do have a bundle of different actions. that rely on values, even down to just a simple imbued with dark power, which adds to their strength characteristic. Yeah, they've got a bundle of abilities all the way through. That's another double. They've got the quad is Death Blow. So that adds value to this ability to damage points allocated to enemy fighters, and each hit or critical for the next melee attack action made by this fighter. So you want that to be high. What I like about this ability, though, is it's either on or it's off. So you're constantly trying to... So initially, it's not active. As soon as you get an enemy fighter down, then all of a sudden, it's active. But you're constantly having to check. And it doesn't... You don't tamper with your dice. Your dice are just going to be as they are, and then when you are about to use the ability, you will check to see if you've got more enemy fighters taken down, and if they have, then you'll be able to add 3 on it when you're using the ability. It's spin on it. We're still doing that same thing that I was talking about, which is controlling the values of the abilities. Yeah, I like it. I think it's fun. Spire Tyrants. Really simple. You pick one of your fighters, you pick one of their fighters, and your strength matches their toughness. Yeah. So it does mean that when your small guys can go up against one of their big tough guys, and you'll at least be equal on it. Yeah, it's cool. Just more of that dueling element to it. Splintered Fang. I think this one I'm confused by. Okay, so once per battle round, a friendly fighter with a battle trait can use poisoned attacks ability without needing to spend any ability dice. It says, that's a typo by me, it says treat the value of that ability as 6. The problem then is poison attacks says until the end of this fighter's activation, the strength characteristic of attack actions made by this fighter count as being higher than the target's toughness characteristic. So it doesn't require the value ability to be 6. So yeah, I'm not sure what's going on there. I might have missed something, but yeah, I think that second bit at the end is not needed. Tarantulos Brood. They get to summon a spider back. Yeah, they don't have to spend any ability dice, and they don't need to have the hero rune mark, so anyone can. But it is only once per battle. The spiders were super meta at the end of the first edition, and have just been kind of meh since. So an extra little bit of a bonus from. It's kind of like the Fire Slayers being able to bring back their magma draught. Kindle draught? I think it's Kindle draught. Jade Obelisk. Blessings of the Speaker. The first time this battle, a friendly fighter with a battle trait used the Bloody Tribute. Bloody Tribute is only used by the priest, so the priest is the only one who can use it. Then you can remove damage points allocated to a friendly fighter with the Icon Bearer. So this particular list, the Jade Obelisk, is a very, very clever idea. You've got the Icon Bearer at the center of the warband, and then you've got the priest. So I think it's anytime she gets a kill, she can then dedicate Bloody Tribute, and then when she does, one of the other fighters gets a free move. So it's a way to generate extra moves. But the Icon Bearer at the center is key for a lot of the abilities, and keeping that Icon Bearer alive is great. So doubling this up, so when you get that blessings, you get an extra move to also heal your Icon Bearer, really, really helps this warband, I think. Within the focus, within the idea of how it's supposed to be working. So cool. Saying cool a lot. This is cool. The Unmade, Shared Bliss. This is fun. So they do have a reaction. It's kind of like a counter reaction, but rather than when they miss doing damage, it's when they're hitting doing damage. So that's why they call it Shared Pain. In this case, so that should be on a 3+, not on 1 3+. If you manage to kill someone using that Shared Pain ability, then you can get a free quad with the value of 1. Brilliant. Absolutely fantastic. Chances of happening is pretty low, but it's got a high payoff for an epic moment, and I like it. Untamed Beasts, Wordy Prey. Again, we're talking about value manipulation here. So this is, you pick one particular fighter, and while you're targeting that one, the values are equal to 6. So there are a couple of damage-based ones, I think. But importantly, it's the drag, that particular that harpoon ability. Harpoon Snag. So the triple Harpoon Snag is now always going to have 6, so you can drag them the 6 inches away. The other ability where it is relevant is with Pounce. Your cat does have a triple, which is kind of a charge effect. So basically, it's a at the end of a move, do damage equal to whatever the ability is. So if they pounce onto the wordy prey, then you're going to be doing it for 6, which is cool. Askurgan Trueblades, vampiric thematic. So after you kill a big character, you get to remove some damage points. So you get to drink. You get to engage in some bloodlust. I think the idea with this is that the Askurgan Truebloods are vampires, noble vampires, allegedly, who are trying to hunt beasts. So if they manage to kill something with 30 or more health, then they can finally feed. So it's very, very story-driven. Flesh Eater Courts, the Formal Lance. So this is feeding into the delusion that they're noble, chivalrous knights. And the ability itself is fantastic. So basically, if you have 2 or more friendly fighters together at the start of activation, they have +1 move. And similar +1 strength. So let me do that again. Yeah, the start of activation is for the move, and then they're not moving if they're attacking. So the +1 strength. So as long as you can kind of group them up together, you're able to get that extra damage. Now it is a bit weird because if you've got 2, as soon as one moves away with the extra move, then the other doesn't get it as well. So you're going to have to try and balance that out. More move, great. More strength, also great. This is a win-win. Night Haunt. Add 1 to the strength characteristic of melee attack action made by friendly fighters with battle trait if they made a move action this activation. So it's not going to work for your double attacks. It's going to work for your move and then attacks. Most of these are 3 to 4 strength, so an extra +1 strength is going to be big and it's going to be very relevant. Ossiarch Bonereapers. This one's a bit weird. There are very few abilities that I could see that actually care about range that are in the Ossiarch Bonereapers rune mark. Of particular note is the one that gives extra attacks to one of their big guys. So this will stretch out the range slightly. So, it's a minor improvement. It's a minor bonus, but that is the current Ossiarch list. So I think no harm in giving a bit of a help. Pyregeists. These ones are interesting because this keys off the Pyre token. The Pyre tokens already exist in a kind of, they've got this little section of rules at the start to kind of explain what they do. So currently, after you get a kill that triggers a Pyre token, then that, and it's all based on ability. So if they can kill someone with an ability, they'll get a Pyre token, and then the Pyre tokens will do damage picked around. This doubles down on that. So the more Pyre you can generate, the more chances you have of getting wild dice. And then once you've got wild dice, you can do more abilities, which will generate more Pyre tokens, which will, it's kind of cool. Royal Beast Flayers. Ooh, this is the monkeys, isn't it? Royal Beast Flayers. So the Hounds Bay, they're monkeys. So if the monkeys kill someone, you get to pick another one, and they get a free bonus move action of up to 3 inches. How dangerous are the monkeys? They're the Awful Hounds. The Awful Hounds are actually reasonably dangerous. So they're 130 points. So they are probably doing a little bit of killing on this particular warband. Huh. I mean, they're fast, as I recall. Yeah, they're move 7, and the rest of the ghouls are move 5. So, an extra free move is always going to be great. There's absolutely no downside to it. And I guess it does key into the story element of the hounds being out, tracking down the prey. They get the kill, and then they let out the howl, and then everyone else can come to catch up and finish off whatever prey they found. Soulblight Gravelords. This warband is one of the ones that I think work better, or not necessarily better. Let me rephrase that. This is one of the really big ones. So this particular list for Soulblight Gravelords has sucked in a lot of different Underworlds models, a big, wide range of fighters in the first case. So you can do some quite good warbands staying within. And when you do, you'll get this particular bonus. However, this particular bonus is specific to the vampires. So this is pushing the Soulblight Gravelords into playing more vampires, which is cool. The ability itself, whenever you use Thirst for Blood, it change if it's a 1-1 or a 2-2, it'll be a 3-3 instead. It's just a way for them to get a bit of healing in. So minimum, this ability now becomes a heal for 3 as a triple. And obviously you've got higher triples. And again, this is a different variant, a different version at looking at, quotation marks, the problem around ability dice and ability values, which, to be fair, I think it is a bit of an issue. It does limit some design choices around what you can do with the triples and quads, less so the doubles when it comes to the abilities. And I think they're doing a good job in this particular release of correcting that. Teratic Cohort, we've talked about in the recent release video. Predatory Outriders lets them deploy 3 inches further out. So they would normally be able to deploy 3 inches, and they can deploy out 6 inches. Great. It's almost a free extra movement start. Bone Splitters, Primal Beliefs. When a player whose warband has a battle trait makes initiative roll. Okay. So, yeah, you can re-roll ones. When a player whose battle makes an initiative roll. So, yeah, this is just if there's a tie. It's so minor. Yeah. And it's only on ones. It's probably never going to affect anyone. Gloomspite Gitz, the Bad Moon Rises. This one's fun because you get to pick your opponent's or your own. On a 2+, pick one of your opponent's or your own dice, change the value of the ability to the result on the dice roll. So if you roll a 2, you'll probably pick your opponent. If you roll a 5 or a 6, you're probably going to pick one of your own. Again, more manipulation. Great that the Gloomspites can mess with their opponents too. I quite like that. Ogor Mawpack. I massively typoed this, but in the original one, that's why it is on a slightly different font. Never mind. So if you kill something, you do D3 damage points are removed. So this particular one, Ravenous Gorging. After enemy fighter has been taken down. Was there a rune mark associated with this? I'm getting confused. But okay. This is the Gorgor Mawpack. Yeah. So, once they kill someone, there's a little bit of healing that they can do, and that's basically because they eat them. Iron Jaws. Yeah, again, you need your opponent to make a wait action, so that might never happen. But wait actions are quite useful when you're playing against the Iron Jaws, because Iron Jaws have very few fighters. And if you can take a few wait actions, then you can then kind of concentrate all of your actions at the end, where there's going to be no back and forth. This discourages that playstyle, and it means you're probably going to act, or you're going to end up giving your Iron Jaws opponent a free move of 3 inches, which, could be dangerous. Cruel Boys, stick 'em good. So after you can pick enemy fighters allocate 1 more damage point by a melee attack action. Does this say for that battle round after the fighter's activation? So you pick one of your fighters, and then you can pick. Now you can pick them after they've done the damage already, so you don't necessarily have to pick them straight away. And then you allocate D3 damage to the enemy fighter. So as long as you do at least 1 point of damage, you can then go, I'm going to stick them good and quick and do an extra D3. Okay, yeah, more damage. More damage sounds good. These are for monster killers. Okay, yeah, this one's largely non-relevant. You get a bonus to the ability if you've got the monster rune mark. They are monster killers, so it is very, very thematic. This will probably rarely, if ever, come up. Obviously, the Chimera is still out there and still a bit of a menace, but it's very, very rare to hit monsters these days. But, thematic for the monster killers. Okay, yeah, this is what I was thinking about when I was looking at the Gorgor Mawpack. The Ogor Mawtribes are limited to Brute and Agile rune marks for this particular action. So the brutes are almost all of the ogres, but there is one ogre that's been missed out, maybe one or two. And then the agile is the yeti. So the yeti can also do this. Again, this is more eating. So after someone goes down, you roll a dice and you heal that much back. Oh, and you can only eat them once, obviously, of course. And that's it. We've gotten through all of them. This is almost at the 50-minute mark, but I'm pretty happy we've gotten through all of them. Hopefully you enjoyed this quick run through. I am super, super excited about these. I think they're a great idea. I think the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to see if I can put together a card pack for these. So just get the text, put them on what would be an ability card, just to have it handy for each of them. And then, you know, once I'm playing it, I'll pull out this card if it is allowed. Do recall this is an optional rule. I personally do expect this to be something that is going to be used. I think people will enjoy it. I think it solves a couple of problems. The ability dice is one in particular, but also it kind of pushes up some of the, I don't want to say weaker warbands, but if you're playing if you go out and you buy a box and you've just got, you know, everything in that box, this is going to increase the power of that particular warband slightly. It shouldn't really impact the high level tournament play, if that's something you're interested in. But I think it kind of squishes, it pushes the bottom up, and it doesn't tamper too much with the top. So I think that's pretty perfect. As I said, I love these. I hope you like them. And yeah, again, if you see anything that I missed, or if I've made any mistakes, please do comment. This is somewhat off the cuff. I did have a read through all of these beforehand, but I'm just trying to get through this as fast as I can, just to kind of understand for myself, and then, well, sell it. I think these are great. I think everyone should be playing them, and I'm super happy that GW have gifted us this little thing. Although there probably are a few minor tweaks that they could do in an upcoming FAQ. So fingers crossed on that. Thanks for making it all the way to the end. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Each week I put up a new video talking about one of Games Workshop's specialist games. The goal is always to try and make the best possible two-player experience. If this is something you'd find interesting, please subscribe to the channel and comment to let me know what you'd like to see in future.